Hey, it's Mike here, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to build your very own assistant. We're going to give it some tools, and I'm going to show you some of the new MCPs that are available in the new Simtheory. So let's get started. So for those unfamiliar, down here in the Composer, you'll see the default assistant I currently have selected. We're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to click Create Assistant, and that's going to bring up the Assistant Builder. Now, I'm going to call this researcher because that's what it says is the default. So I'm just going to type that in to make it really easy on myself. It will generate an avatar for my researcher. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see memory, MCP skills, knowledge, prompts, deployment, and settings, which might look overwhelming at first, but I assure you it is not. So for the instructions, I'm not going to put anything. That's how I roll. Over time, if you want to coach the assistant a little bit, tell it things that you like, very specific things like how you might want it to approach the research every single time. You can put that in the instructions. Now, memory is enabled by default, so this assistant is just going to start learning and storing different memories. The memory system has been dramatically improved. I think you'll find it's incredible after a while what it can recall and what it stores and how clean and concise it keeps memories now. Under MCPs, this is where we add the tools for the assistant. And we're really trying to encourage you with your workflows to build assistants that you can then use for turn-by-turn chat with AI, but also in the agentic mode as well. So here is where we want to add our tools. So I'm going to show you the new document editor, the new spreadsheet editor, and the new presentation editor as well. Now, I've already got these installed, so I've kind of cheated, but if you click Browse MCP Store, go to Productivity, you'll see the document editors here, presentation editor is here, and spreadsheet editor is here. Now, you might already have these installed if you've set up a new account recently. These are installed by default, so you probably won't have to worry. But if you're an existing user and you're just checking this out for the first time, you're going to have to install those. So I'll click Add MCPs, and here I'm going to select the document one, the spreadsheet one, the presentation one. And I also want to add the new default search. I highly recommend this. It's just called search, very simple. And I'm also going to pick the web crawl and the image tool. So here you have it. I've got the document editor, image tool, presentation editor, search, spreadsheet editor, and web crawl. Now, I can disable anytime I like tool calls or enable them. And each individual MCP here can be enabled or disabled. Now, if there's specific functions of an MCP you don't want on or off, for example, if you've got Gmail on and you don't want it to send emails, you can actually click on the MCP now and you can turn on and off individual tools. So I can turn off this one, create document, which is not advised, but you can. And you'll see 7 of 8 tools selected. So there's an indication here that it's configured a little bit differently as well. So it's really easy to understand. Now, below that, you've got skills, knowledge, prompts, deployment, settings. I'll cover those in another video. But for now, let's go ahead and create our assistant. You'll see that it automatically switches to that assistant and we're ready to go. Now, to use these new tools, there's a couple of different ways to use them. I can just stay in chat mode if I like, or I can switch over to the new agent mode. And in agent mode, this is going to obviously work as an agent, and this can go off and do very long tasks. So if you give it the right tools, the right skills, it can go off and actually work for a considerable amount of time. And when we were building the new Simtheory, we had many agents going around the clock, and some of these would go off and work for 2 to 3 hours on different tasks and get a tremendous amount of work done. So I highly recommend agent mode for different tasks. Just remember that it chews a lot of tokens when you use agent mode. So I would only use it for very useful tasks that you want to delegate and have the AI go off and create some value for you. So we're going to stick to chat mode just for this first example. And what I want to show you first is the document editor. There's a few different ways of actually getting into the document editor, and I'll show you those ways. But let's go ahead and prompt this, and so we'll get it to do some research and then create a document. So it's pretty relevant here in Australia at the moment. Everyone's worried about fuel security. So I'm going to ask it to research where Australia gets its fuel from and create a document for me. So I'm going to use my voice to do that. I can click the enable voice dictation mode here. Can you go off and research for me the sources of where Australia gets its fuel from and information about its fuel security in general? Given what's going on in Iran, people are concerned about fuel and shipments. Can you just go and find me a bunch of information on that and compile it into a document for me? So you can see it's pretty easy now to dictate your voice. You'll see how rapidly this thing goes. It's going to go off and search a number of different sources here, and then it's going to create the document. So you can see it's hit up a number of sources. Now, again, if you used agent mode, this thing would go off and hit up a number of different tools. You could add different sources. It can even work off local files like spreadsheets and other information. So you'll see it's already gathered the information. We're using Claude 4.5 Haiku for this example. It's a really fast, capable model. I use it for pretty much everything, especially these tasks that involve a lot of tool calling, because it's generally really fast and it's pretty intelligent when you fill its context with the right information. So you can see it's gone ahead and created a really nice document here. Now, to open that document up, we can click here and you'll see it opens the document up. Now, it's currently pretty late at night when I'm filming this video, so you'll see the document, just to ease the pain on your eyes, goes into dark mode as well. Now, like all the focus windows in the product, you can move this how you want it. So if you want more chat on the right, you can have that there. And if you want bigger document, you can move it along here. So you can see it's got where Australia gets its fuel, and and all this kind of great information around it and different parts and a conclusion. Now I'll show you how to edit the document. So you can just select it here. So I can select the executive summary, and I can then also use my voice. Can you also have a TLDR section at the top in this section? So it's just, I don't have to read the whole thing if I don't want. So I can bark the command at it. You'll see there's an indicator here that it's editing that part of the document. And over here, you'll see that it now is working away, and it's applied the TLDR, too long didn't read, summary of the article at the top. You've also got styling at the top of the document here. You've got image tools, table tools as well up here. So you can just insert an image and find a suitable image in your file manager or generate an image. But you can also go over here to the editor and say at the top of the document, add a suitable header image. So you can use other tools as well. And the editor is really capable of knowing what tools are available, and then if it can insert it, it will use the tool and then put it into the document itself. So in this case, we're generating the image at the top, and in a moment, I'll show you how to create a chart as well. Okay, so you can see it generated an image here, and this is like a full summary of like what's going on with shipment tankers and the disruption that you can see in the background here. So not bad, probably not what I envisaged, but I could tweak it. Now, if I wanted to tweak it, I can actually click here and you'll see it's aware of what content type is selected. So it's aware that it's an image. How do you want to edit this image? You can just type in how you want to edit it and it will make that edit. And the next thing I'll show you is, say you wanted to put in a chart in this section here about where the fuel reserves are. So again, in this plus, you can say put a chart here that shows where the reserves are located. So similar to the image example we saw before, it will go off and create a chart. Now, it really depends on what tools you have enabled again. So with the image editor, it will actually use Code Interpreter and produce a detailed chart. It can take in a ton of information as well. And remember, you can do sequential asks as well. So you could say like, go off, research this, create a document with charts and images and compile it for me. And it could actually do most of the stuff we're doing in one actual hit, but I'm just showing you step by step how this works. Okay, so you'll see I've jumped ahead a little bit here just because I didn't want you to wait for it to make a chart. But you'll see for some reason the first chart failed for whatever reason. Sometimes this just happens with the models. It's pretty normal. And then it's gone and corrected itself, and then it's retrieved the current document status, and then it's inserted it into the document here. So you can see it's created a chart about where the reserves are in Australia by state. And so, yeah, it's pretty capable. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is how do you actually get or find these documents once they've been created? And so the easiest way to do it, and this is with all assets or files in the system now, is to click in the app drawer up here and select the new file manager. Now, if you are accessing files all the time, you can click this toggle here and then click this pin, and you'll see that it pins the app up the top here. And you can also pin, say, the meeting recorder, or if you're creating documents all the time, you could pin the new document button up here as well. So really, you get to choose what is pinned up here. So let's click the file manager icon here, and you'll see these are all the different files that I've created. There's also different areas where you can filter by documents, spreadsheets, presentation, images, code, files that are shared. And if you add your cloud drives, they'll also appear in here as well. I don't have any connected right now. But you can click into files as well to preview them. So you'll see here's our document. You can see which sessions it appears in, which is kind of cool. And you can add it to a session for context, or you can click new session, and it will open that same document again in an entirely new session if you just want to start working on it again. Now, the other thing to note here is all the changes are tracked. So you can click here and it will actually load in the changes and the different versions. You can remember we did the TLDR, and we can sort of scroll back in time here to the different changes in the document. You can also hover on it to see what was added or removed. And so the track changes is a really great way. So all those changes are stored and saved, so you can go back and forwards and you'll never lose any work. So if the AI goes in and like destroys a document you've been working on, you can easily get it back. Okay, so there's one more way to create a document, and I introduced this way into Simtheory because it's just a workflow I really like, where I know I want to create a document about something, but I don't necessarily want to have to say to the AI, please create a document, because it just feels wrong. So you can now go up to the app drawer and you can click new document. That'll open a new session or a new tab here, and it'll just create a blank document. And I really use this to produce the podcast that we do each week. So I'll say podcast outline. And then sometimes I'll be like, can you just pick some topics? And I have a podcast producer that already kind of knows how I format these documents. But in this case, the assistant's brand new, so it doesn't know. So in here, I'll say like GPT 5.4 is a talking point, and it might be, NVIDIA's robot on stage. So it could be two topics here. And then over here, I can click with my voice. Can you research the two topics I've got in this document and just prepare some talking points? For GPT 5.4, I'm especially interested in the context, like understanding the context size, pricing, all that kind of stuff. So this is pretty much what I do. Again, you can type it on the right, or you can just select the actual dot points and interact with it here. So you'll see first it'll read the document, find what it is that I wanted, and then it'll just go off and search for it pretty rapidly here, and then add those detailed points to the document for me. It's a really useful feature. I use it all the time. And up here, I can name the document as well. So I could say episode 100 and start to prepare that outline. And you'll see it's now using the document editor. And in a minute here, I should have a nice updated document with all my research. So you can see I've got my talking points in here, pricing structure, key capabilities, practical considerations. Now, it's added a bunch of source tags, and I don't really want them. And that's from these different sources that it's put in here. So again, I can just say, hey, can you remove the source labels, the SO thing, and just put a list of sources at the bottom of the document instead? So I'll just correct that, get it to go ahead and update it. I'll let that play out. But one thing you can do here now is in the file manager, you can export these documents to PDF, to Word, to Markdown, save them to a cloud drive if you have one connected. You can also click share, and it's depending on what mode you're in. So if you're in like workspace mode, this is a little bit different, but you can say, I want to share it with anyone with a link. You can see that it creates a URL that you can go and read this document for, and it outputs it really nicely. It also supports voice. You can listen to the article as well, and also share it on social networks. So for the next example, we're going to look at spreadsheets, and I'll do this a little bit differently. I'll just click new spreadsheet. Now to use these, remember, your assistant has to have the tools enabled. So if I did new spreadsheet and my assistant doesn't have access to the spreadsheet editor, it's not going to work out so great for you. But one way I like to work with spreadsheets is actually just to enter full screen mode and type or talk in here. I found this works really great. So let's do this, and we'll look at tracking like the ships that are bringing fuel to Australia and see if it can find that information. Can you find inbound shipments of fuel supplies to Australia and put them in a spreadsheet for me, or in this spreadsheet, so I can see the information about how much fuel and maybe what ships deliver it, or any information about delivery of fuel to Australia? So I just basically bark my order. You can't see it very well in this particular theme I'm using, but it sort of glows. It has that fancy AI glow. And in a minute here, you'll see it fully populate this spreadsheet. Okay, so you can see it has actually found the data, which is pretty cool. So you've got all the different tankers that are inbound here. And you can do things like say, hey, can you style this a bit better, like bold the headings and maybe use a little bit of color or something just to make it a bit better to the eye? So you can go and ask it to obviously make stylistic changes as well, or you've got a number of controls up here as well. So I'll let it do that, and then I'll show you a few other cool things about this. Okay, so that was way quicker than I thought, and it styled the heading. Wasn't as exciting as I was hoping for, but you get the idea. You can ask it to do certain things. So what I might ask it now is, I want to know like shipments that might be at risk. Now, one interesting thing is as you select columns, you can see down here it's actually aware of what you've got selected as well. And it says, what do you want to do with A2 to A10? I can select across here and it's very aware. So it's got full spreadsheet capabilities. It's got the ability to format. So just like, Google Sheets or something like that, you can use accounting formatting, and you can import your existing spreadsheets into this format as well. It works pretty well. But you can click X and just sort of go for a broader change here as well. So for this change, I'm going to actually ask it which of these shipments might be at risk, and then add a new column for how much they cost. Can you highlight shipments that might be at risk based on the Iran war? You can highlight them in yellow, and add another column with how much cost, like how much that particular volume would cost generally on the market, and then another column with how much it might cost now because of everything that's going on. Okay, so it's back. You can see it's added a new column, risk level, and it's highlighted some pretty scary ones. So high, high, and critical. It's got the pre-crisis cost, and then the current cost. So, and it added a cost increase as well. So you can see this is pretty cool. Like I've been able to bring together a lot of information really quickly. So I've got, a pretty good analysis of what's going on, which, I mean, think about how hard this would have been to do before. So I'll call it Australian oil shipment analysis. And yeah, pretty impressive. And then if you minimize it back down, you'll see that this is where it's sort of done all that work. And then you've got the smaller spreadsheet in here, and you've got the new little pill here that shows you the files that are available in this session as well. So that's just a quick way of opening it. And of course, you can work just in this mode as well. But I just really love that full screen mode. It feels like you're living and working in the future. You've also got undo redo on this as well. You can download it as Excel, CSV. You can also share it as well. And I'll show you the sharing because I'm really proud of it. You can click share, and the whole spreadsheet's available in the browser, and you can save it to your files, download it, and so on and so forth. So that is the spreadsheet editor. Now, what's cool about this is, remember we added the presentation maker earlier. So all of this research now is in context. So I'm going to ask it to make a presentation, a professional presentation on the risk to Australia's fuel supply. So here we go. Can you now make a presentation, maybe 4 to 5 slides on the risk to Australia's fuel supply based on the Iran war, and target it at government because they obviously need to know what's going on. Make it a nice formal presentation, simple graphics, visually descriptive, and also add some charts and anything that will help people understand what is going on as a bit of a briefing document. Okay, so let's see how it does. So you can see it's reading its memory as well here, which is pretty cool. Obviously, the memory is much more detailed. It's going off and thinking using the presentation editor. And in a minute, it'll put together an outline for this presentation. I'll join you back once it's done. Okay, we're back. It's created a presentation for us. Now, you can actually add a skill to your assistant with your brand guidelines, and then it'll create the presentations on brand, which it works insanely well. So you can see here, it's created the presentation. This is pretty good. Like, this is really detailed based on what we wanted. So you can just browse through it here, or you can blow it up and you get this full spreadsheet capability. So as we go through it here, you'll see the different slides. You can bring it out, or you can, like all of them, you can enter full screen. Now, it's also got the addition of present and presenter view. So presenter view lets you basically present on another monitor. And present is like a full screen, just if you want to present normally. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. It's got recommendations and contingency plans, immediate actions, medium-term strategy, long-term strategy. It's got supply chain risk analysis, mitigation strategies in place, cost impact and market disruption, and yeah, this is really good. Again, you can share it like everything in Simtheory now. You can go anyone with a link, copy it. Let's have a look at that. Prove it works. So you can see here they've got the full slide deck going through, and yeah, you can just browse through it. It's so cool. And so what I want to do is show you the editing capabilities here as well. So there's also speaker notes in here. And what's cool is you can say like add talking points to speaker notes. And we could actually just blow it up here so we can see those updates live. And you'll see it's going to think a little bit, load the presentation in, and then it'll go and add detailed presentation notes here for each slide. Okay, so you can see I now have speaker notes here, and you can see like it's done very detailed. I probably shouldn't have said detailed, but it's given me really good speaker notes for each slide. So key talking points, important source breakdown. I could ask it now to like make them, you know, a bit more casual or whatever. But let me show you how you can make edits, which is really cool as well. So say I wanted this like logo, like this title at the top a bit bigger. I can actually use my pen tool and I could just select this bit. Or if I don't want to do that, I can draw on it. So I can just like draw a red circle around it. And I can like even reposition it if I want. And then I'm just going to say, can you make this title a bit bigger on this slide, please? And then we'll send it, and it'll go ahead and edit the slide and make that change. All right, so there you have it. The title's bigger. The slide looks exactly the same. It feels like magic. It's pretty damn cool. Now, of course, these are images, remember. We are working on layering technology to like break this all out so you can like move elements around soon. But it's pretty cool. I mean, it does the job. Like, you don't really need a lot of those capabilities anymore. It just sort of works out of the box. So it's a pretty exciting time. So what have we seen? We have seen the document editor. We have seen the spreadsheet maker. We've done some research with this podcast outline. And we've also done our slide deck here as well. One cool tip I'm going to show you. If you want your slide deck on one side and another tab open on the other while you're getting ready, maybe you're researching fuel sources in one tab and you want your presentation in another, you can grab the tab and bring it down here and you'll see You can choose where you want to split and just let go, and it will automatically split, and you'll see the focus goes to full screen in this tab. And then I've got this control here, so I can decide on each side, what I want going on each side. Now, if you want to re-merge, you can click here, merge all tabs back together. If you want to get out of this, you can minimize it, and then you've got your two sessions nice and together. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. There's many more to come. I'll see you in the next one.